All
All
good.
right, brand babies. I get to talk to one of my favorite people today. I have learned more from this dude than I have learned from anybody else in brand strategy. And to be able to talk to him about my shit is a whole different level than me talking to him about his shit, because I was on his podcast previously. But we're going to get on into this because y'all know I got shit to do.
Hey, brand babies. This is Brandma's podcast, where we go in on personal branding without taking shit personally. Brandma's house is hosted by none other than the Ghetto Country Brandmother. She's here to share her experience, expertise, and education in a way that takes you from brand baby to brand leader. So come on in and hold on to your bourbon, because Brandma's about to spill the tea.
So I want to introduce you to Stephen Houraghan. This dude changed the game for me when it came to brand strategy. And I had taken all of these other different things. I had taken level C. I listened to Chris Dokes. Chris is still my dude, dog. Don't y'all get it twisted. But what I learned about brand strategy, trust and believe, I learned it from Stephen, and I could not have learned more. He even helped me switch up how I do business, and it was just a game changer. But I'm gonna let him give you all the dirty little details about his credentials and all of that kind of shit. So Steve, go ahead and tell us about you.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction to the impact that I've had on you, and that really does light me up. You know, there's a lot of benefits in doing what I do, but it really is you know, that little impact that I have along different people's journeys, and hearing how it has impacted them and given them the platform to you know, to go on and do great things. Anyway, that was just a beautiful introduction, so thank you very much for that. Just a bit about me. My bag is brand strategy. It's what I love. It's what I've you know, I kind of fell into. I fell a few different times. I used to be a stockbroker, believe it or not, many moons ago, and after the GFC, that I know I can say this on your podcast, that shit just went you know, belly up. So it was an opportunity for me to look at doing something different, and I'd always played with Photoshop and been artistic and done things visually. So design kind of brought me down that road. But it only brought me so far, because the business brain that I had from the stock marketing world, the economics background that I had, it started, it forced me to ask some more questions about, you know, why are we doing this? There was a lot of whys, and that's what I was used to. Why are we doing this? And that kind of took me on this trajectory as to, you know, the why behind the design, which was the brand, and, you know, the why behind the brand, which was the strategy. So long story short, you know, back then there was no YouTube channels, there was no courses, and, you know, I fell into books, all of the you know, the classics, the Ogilvies, the Marnie Newmeyers, the David Ackers, but still there was no process. There was no, okay, you do this first, then you do that first, then this piece works over here and that piece works over there. I had to build that for myself, and as I built it for myself and started to bring clients through the process and started to talk about it, I had all of these professionals say, tell me more. And it was the appetite coming from the professionals, because they didn't have the process, they didn't have the systems, and they wanted that to give to their clients. And that just started this journey of putting together, being more clinical about the documentation of my processes, and then putting that together in a way that I could explain it to other people. And it was just an organic process that grew into Brandmaster Secrets, which is the flagship program that we run at Brandmaster Academy. And yeah, that's what I do. I talk about brand strategy. I show branding professionals and entrepreneurs how to use systemic processes to build a brand, you know, based on not the visuals, based on really who the person is that they're trying to connect with, and why they would want to look at a brand, to give a brand attention, and to ultimately make the decision to buy a brand. So that's what I love getting into, the nitty-gritty detail behind brands, why brands exist in the first place, and why the audience should care about a brand. And that's what brand strategy is all about. And that, you know, I absolutely love it. I've been doing it for many, many years now, and it still lights me up.
I love it. I love it. And that is something that I'm very passionate about. It's like people always say, oh, well, I'm doing it for the money. And eventually, if you're doing it for the money, it burns out. And I think finding my way to branding and brand strategy, I found something that lights me up, because I'm notorious for being a paper pusher. I don't mind being a paper pusher, and people have a problem with that, but it has never been a problem of mine. But this gives me a different way to push the paper, and it also gives me a way to help people find their voice, not only their brand voice, but their personal voice. And with all of the things that we have to do as business owners, how do you feel about people who are constantly trying to DIY if they don't go through your course? And even at that, I think some people don't know how to have the hard conversations with themselves to be true to what they want in their brand. But when people try to DIY their own brand strategy, why do you think they struggle? Because I know I struggled for a minute until I figured my own shit out. But why do you think people struggle with trying to do their own brand strategy?
It's a very good question, and I've never really settled on an answer that I'm particularly happy with, because it's still a bit of a mystery as to why it is so difficult for a person to strategize their own brand versus a professional strategizing for someone else. But it just seems to be. I've found that out myself. You found that out yourself, and I know that almost every student that has come through who has reported on trying to do brand strategy for themselves, or you know, they might use their own brand as their first brand strategy. It's notoriously difficult to do. And look, I think part of the reason for that is that most strategists, when they work on their own brand for the first time, they're doing it from a place of inexperience. That's one factor. I think most people, when they put together their own brand, their own brand is their first brand that they're doing it for. You know, when you have seasoned strategists and they might rebrand themselves later on, the job that they're going to do is going to be far better than the original job that they did. So there is an element of inexperience when it comes to branding for yourself, in that those who try to brand for themselves, they're usually doing it early doors. But there's something more than that as well. There is the facilitation that goes on within brand strategy, and somebody else posing questions in a certain way that makes you think. If you're asking your own questions for yourself, it's very hard to sit on both sides of the table, to be objective on one side and to be incisive on the other side. That's kind of a two-way conversation. That's a dialogue between the strategist and the brand leaders. So I think those two things are probably the main reasons for branding for yourself being particularly hard. First of all, when most people do it for themselves, they're doing it from a place of inexperience. And, you know, should they rebrand themselves later on, they'll find that they'll have better success there. And the other side is the dialogue nature of workshops, and being able to ask incisive questions on one side of the table and to answer objectively on the other side of the table.
I love that. And that makes sense now. But here's my thing. You have ruined me for brand strategy like my husband ruined me for barbecue. Once my husband learned how to barbecue, I turned into a barbecue snob. And so now when I hear people drop the term that they're a brand strategist, and I look at some of their content and I look at what they're putting out and I look at their own brands, oh my God, it's like I just want to, I get violent. Because it's such bullshit. It's like, seriously, is this what you're calling strategic branding? And especially, like I said, if they haven't done it for themselves. you're making this big ass promise and you haven't even put in the work to create your own promise. You're still trying to, I see people on threads. I don't know if you're on threads, but I see people on threads and they're saying, I'm telling the algorithm that I want to connect with this, and they have this like list of 10 different people that they want to connect with that they think that they can help, instead of saying, you know what, let me just help this person. But you're calling yourself a strategist. And you know, you talk about like just finding that one person to talk to consistently. Everybody else is listening, but you're just talking to this person. So you have ruined me for brand strategy.
No, I have given you another lens, and with that lens, you can see more clearly.
I won't take that, but I'm telling you, it still makes me violent. Now, because you still work on this for businesses, and with personal branding becoming so prevalent, how do you see what people do strategically for their business brands? How do you see that tying into personal branding? Because you know that's my thing now.
Yeah, and look, I absolutely love the personal branding space, and the reason I love the branding space is because it's about connecting with humans, and there's an element, and I think in some way, shape, or form, we all have a curiosity at least about human psychology. You know, some people have more of an interest than others, but on a very basic level, I think there's you know, inherently an interest from us all as to why people do what they do. And that's really what branding is about. When you strip all the bullshit back, when you strip all the complexity back, it's about understanding people. It's about understanding who they are, what their needs are, what their challenges are, what their fears and desires are, what they're going through at the moment, what their objectives are, and how they want to get there, and you know, how you're going to position yourself to help them get there. So it's really all about understanding people, where they're trying to get to. So when it comes to personal branding, you know, it's all relatively the same. When we strip back the anatomy, and I speak about this in Brandmaster Secrets, the anatomy of a brand strategy, you can see all of these elements that are very, very human. And all of this is relatively new in the greater scheme of things. When I say relatively new, I'm talking about the last 20 to 30 years, probably closer to the last 20 years. We've seen brands evolve from these corporate entities where it was one-way communication. You know, it was all about the marketing, the 4 Ps, getting the message out there into the market. And then social media came along, and people started to find their collective voice and their individual voices, and brands had to adapt, and they had to adapt to start this dialogue. And the more they went down that road, the more human they had to become. So that's why you see today brands with a purpose. That's inherently a human idea, a belief, a vision, a mission, you know, principles and values, and you know, a meaning behind what they do, a personality, you know, a style, how they dress, how they look, you know, the way they speak, the way they talk. These are all inherently human ideas, but we've brought them into the branding world. So when we talk about personal branding, we're actually bringing it back to being human. Now, all of those ideas within the corporate branding world, they're as important, if not more important, in the personal branding world, because you're showing up as yourself. There's nowhere to hide. The only difference I would say, so just to reflect on those elements, when I talk about all of the elements within corporate branding and the anatomy of a corporate brand ties in directly to a personal brand, they would be the brand DNA. So, you know, the internal brand, the purpose, the vision, the mission, the values. It would be the brand position. So the meaning that you give your audience to choose you over somebody else. And then that meaning is put together based on analysis of who the audience is and who the competitors are to find those gaps. And then there's the brand persona. So that's the personality of the brand, the traits that the brand uses, the characteristics, but also the verbal identity as well, how the brand speaks. And then there's how the brand looks as well. So all of those elements are directly translatable into the personal brand. And when you're building a personal brand, all of those boxes should be ticked. But in terms of the main differences between the two, I think when it comes to business branding, there isn't a personality there already. We have to create that based on, who the audience is and the role that the brand is going to play in their lives. If you're a personal brand, or if you're putting yourself out into the market as a personal brand, your personality already exists. And chances are you're trying to connect with a person who has some similarities to you already. So it's all about finding that connection and the resonance of your personality with their personality, and then toning it up just to the right level that's suitable for them. Now, you're a great example of personal branding, and I've used you as an example in the past. But I would say that although your level is probably turned up at least 15% more than most people's in terms of the authenticity of the brand personality they bring to the table, I would still say it's only 85% of the real you, because we reserve that 15% to our close friends and family. The way you're going to talk to your audience is very different to the way that you're going to talk to your family. There's a lot of similarities there, but there's a next level after that. So your personal brand is really about understanding who you are, deciding how much of it you're going to give to your audience, and then becoming better and better and more comfortable in your skin to give them more and more and more. And if you're dialed in to the value that you offer in the market and the position that you want to take, and you're able to bring that personality to the table with your content, with how you speak in the market, that's when you hit the sweet spot. And that's when the tribe that you're after, the people who really resonate with the way you talk and what you're talking about, turn their attention towards you instead of turning their attention towards all of the other people that are in the market. So that brand personality within personal branding is really important. And that's a big difference when it comes to the corporate branding world.
You know what? And I can get down with a lot of that. But one of the things that I found for me, I threw purpose, vision, mission, and values out the window for a personal brand. And the only reason I say that is because when I started working with people on that level, they couldn't get out of the mindset about the business. I'm like, I'm not asking you about the business. What do you want? How does this impact you? And so I had to change up the way that I ask questions. Now, if you want to put it back in there as purpose, vision, mission, and values, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I need you to get personal with this. And like you said, you think this is like 85% of me. And I actually think it's only about 50% of me, because I am very particular in separating my personal brand from my personal life. Mm-hmm. And while I'm a very transparent person, I tell people, don't get it twisted. We are not besties because you know something about me personally, because my inner circle is a dot. Mm-hmm. But understanding, like I said, I would not have understood it to this level for me if not for taking your course. Mm-hmm. And while I am not a proponent of online courses, yours is the only one that I can say that I truly got value from. And people might think I'm blowing smoke, but I promise you, I am not an online course kind of person. This is why I work with my clients one-on-one. I do not send them off to courses because I don't technically believe in that shit. But mm-hmm. Stevens is the one that it's like, dang, I have been through it. I think I bought it. When did I sign up? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or something mm-hmm. like that. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the thumbs up. But 2 or 3 years ago, and I keep going back to it for certain sections. Mm-hmm. And even though, like I said, I don't necessarily apply it to personal branding, I go back because I refresh myself. And I have never done that with any other course. I promise you, I paid for something way before I paid for yours, and I never even made it through. I still mm-hmm. have access to it, but I think it's bullshit, because it was telling me how to create an online course. And when I started seeing that, and mind you, this is hindsight, when I started understanding brand strategy, I'm like, she's trying to get people to make a course without a brand. And then she's trying to get them to turn it into an online course, and they don't have a brand. And I see brands everywhere I go. I was like, damn, I can't even watch TV without figuring out what the brand is. But it's the whole personal branding world and people showing up and saying, I am my brand, I take that as, sweetie, you cannot be. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying you can't be, because you cannot fully bring, like you said, that 15%, you cannot fully bring yourself all out here, because you have to trot out all the crazy. If you're going to be 100% authentic, then sweetie, y'all don't want, I tell people, ghetto country grandmother, empathic bitch. Phyllis, petty bitch. Don't ask for the petty bitch. Okay.
That's it. That's it. And we've all got our flaws. And at the end of the day, look, you know, we all and I know that you've got a bee in your bonnet about the word authenticity. I do as well, to a certain extent. At the end of the day, we're creating a personal brand for one reason, and for one reason only, and that is to connect with people in the business arena. You can replace the word business with something else if you like, but there is an end goal, and that end goal has some kind of call to action. It has some kind of next step, and chances are there is some kind of transaction at the end of it as well. So we are business people in the business arena, and you know, even if you're no matter what it is you're doing, and no matter how friendly or informal you make it, you know,
Still business.
there is a transaction at the end of it, and that's it. So that's a principle that everybody needs to remember when they're building a personal brand. You know, what for? What for? Get connected with what for, because you're not just building a personal brand to be people's friends. You know, there's another term for that. I don't know what it is, but it's you know, it's not a personal brand. A personal brand, there is a transaction at the end of it.
Yeah.
And everybody has to remember that.
And I so agree with that. And I think a lot of times that's why some people have the hard time getting to the part about charging money, because they made it so personal. It's like, well, I don't know how to tell them this is how much I charge. I introduced one of my clients to someone for a service, and my client was asking, okay, just get to the bottom line. How much is it going to cost me? Because I'm on the call with him. He's, how much is it going to cost me? And the guy kept dicking around the price. It's like, dude, just say it. And like I said, because we get so caught up in, like, especially when people say charge your worth, sweetie, you can't afford me. I can't afford me, so I can't charge you my worth. What I can charge you for is the work. And if you've geared your personal brand to endorse the business that you're selling, the offer that you have, then it's not about you. It's about a body of work, and you can roll off any number that you want to.
And I think you touch on something there that's really important. It's kind of overlooked as well, and I think it's the reason that you resonated so well with Brandmaster Secrets, is that you have to be confident in the service that you provide and the value that you bring to the table. And if you're connected with your processes and your systems, and you believe in your processes and your systems, and you can see the outcome and you can see the value, then you don't mind having that conversation at all. Now, if you're vague, if you're not completely clear on what your systems are, if you're not very confident in your outcomes or the value of those outcomes, then when the question about price comes, it's understandable that you're going to be dicking around and you're going to be going ba 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 ba, or you know, trying to deflect. But when you are connected with your processes, when you know that this is what we do, this is how we do it at the end, this is what you get, this is the value of what you get, the confidence that comes with that is contagious. When you speak and you're confident about the value that you offer, the service that you provide, that oozes a level of confidence. And then when you produce your price, when you reveal your price, you know, that confidence and the price, they go hand in hand as well. If you're just going to dick about and deflect, then when the price comes out, you know, it's going to have that lack of confidence as well. And, you know, we all know that on a subconscious level. We can see when somebody is unclear about what they do, unclear about their processes, and unclear about their price, or not confident about their price. We can sense that. So there's a lot to be said for the connection that you have with your processes, and the outcome that you provide, and the value of that outcome.
Yeah. And so how did you eventually overcome, whether it's when you were doing stuff live and in person with people, how did you eventually overcome the pricing conversation? Was it a duh for a while until you just said, this is the number?
Yeah, it was so many mistakes. I I remember on my discovery calls, when I transitioned from design to brand strategy, and I was running my discovery sessions, I had a chip on my shoulder, and I felt that I knew the path, and this person who I was trying to help didn't know the path, and it was on me to tell them there's the path. But the way I did it was arrogant. It was it lacked empathy. It lacked any kind of subtlety or gentle guidance. It was essentially me telling them, no, you don't need a logo, you don't need a verbal identity, you need a strategy. This is what you need. This is the way you need to go. I learned very quickly after so many people going through my discovery calls and just going, no, that's not for me, that I needed to kind of tone it down a little bit. So toning it down a little bit gave me the connection to the people I was trying to help. And I read a very good book many years ago by a guy by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, I know that not everybody is into Gary V, but when I read his book called The Thank You Economy, I really connected with the principle that the people you are trying to help are your bread and butter. You are here to serve them, and you need to do that from a place of gratitude, and to show up to every conversation with that principle in mind. And I applied that, and that started to work. The conversations that I started to have, they became more friendly, and I grew into this role of being a guide, because I really believe, in hindsight, that was the role that I was supposed to play, to be that mentor that I never had. So it was kind of an organic progression, and the more I connected with my audience, with my prospects, and the more those conversations became helpful, and I got the feedback that I was looking for. It gave me confidence that I was bringing people on a journey, and that they were going to a good place. And the more social proof that comes, the more testimonials, the more people say thank you so much, it was a great experience, the more you get confidence, and the more you're able to bring that to the table. So look, it is an organic approach, starting from the center, starting from knowing your processes, being confident in your processes, and treating your audience and your prospects like you are here because of them, you are here to serve them, and then building those relationships. That's how it came together for me anyway. I'm sure it comes together for people differently, but that's how it came together for me. Know your processes, gain your confidence with that, and approach your clients and your prospects from a place of gratitude, and then the relationships will build, and the confidence will build with that.
I like that. I like that a lot. And like I said, I think I found your YouTube channel before I found you. Mm-hmm. And looking at all of your content, which is great. And I mean, you walk people through so many different ways and steps, and it's still the same lesson. He just told it a different way. And you get to you do that greatly. And like I say, with personal branding becoming so prevalent, Do you think there's ever a time, because I know your stuff is like, you know what, you don't need to know shit about me, you need to know about the work. And it's not that, it's not, y'all, that's my translation, that's my violent translation, so don't get it twisted. That's not how he is. But as people push more to want to know more, and because I was in a PR audio room, and yes, I jump tracks. I was in a PR audio room, and they were talking about this and being a part of conversations. Do you think there will ever come a time where your particular personal brand of, you know what, I'm showing up here and I'm showing you how to do brand strategy. You don't need to know shit about my personal life. And I know you shared a little bit about with us when we were doing the boot camp, but do you think there's ever going to be a time where you switch up and get a little more personal? Or it's like, you know what, this is as much as Steve that you're going to get? Because I believe in boundaries, so I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And nobody has ever posed that to me because I know I have many more levels to my personality than what people see. You
Mm-hmm.
saw a bit more in the boot camp than what I put out there. Um, and yes, it's it's something that I preach, and that's why I talk about the level. Everybody's comfortable giving a different level, and there is no correct answer. But the closer you are to the top levels of giving your true self, the more you're going to get a tribe connecting with you. Um, I've got a few things that I'm working on at the moment, which has taken my attention away from YouTube, which is where I got to express my personality. Two places I got to express my personality and start to grow it. YouTube was one. And I would say the ceiling for YouTube is a bit lower than my emails. So I don't know if you're still on my
Yes,
emails,
I
but that's
am.
where I kind of give a little bit more, and I don't know why that is. It's a very good question, um, but yeah, when I'm writing, um, I
Introducing Branding Boundaries and Bullshit by the one and only Brandma, Phyllis Williams-Strother. Hey, you there. Are you tired of all the boring personal branding stuff? Well, my mom, Brandma, has got you covered with her awesome new book. In this game changer, Brandma doesn't play by the rules. She's a rebel who says you don't have to fake it to make it. No more being a people pleaser, because it's time to get real. Look, my mom's been there, done that, just like Pitbull, except she was a multi-million-dollar restaurant owner. She's got all the stuff to let you know what's real and what's just okie doke. This book isn't for the corporate crazy. It's for the courageous, the genuine, and the unapologetic. It's about putting you first and not some fake customer pleasing it, because this is not the circus. Branding Boundaries and Bullshit is like a fist pump to those who refuse to conform. It's your map to discovering your YO uniqueness and owning it. So just the BS and start branding on your own terms. Get Brandma's book now and let your true self shine through.
I don't know. I love writing. There's something poetic about it, and if I didn't have to run a business, I would spend a lot more time writing. And I've had to pull myself away from that more and more, which is something that I'm not particularly happy about, and something that I want to kind of readjust and make those changes so I can do that a bit more, because it's something that I really enjoy. But yeah, I'm not sure. So another environment that you have seen me in is the kind of more intimate environments like the boot camp, where we can there is dialogue. Okay. The problem with YouTube is that it's one way, it's monologue. Okay. And there are some YouTubers out there who are awesome at just talking into the camera as if they're talking to a room full of people, or as if they're talking to their best friend. And that's a skill. It's a really, really good skill. I've not managed to master it to that level. I've managed to master it to a particular level. And then there's also the freestyling part as well, where when you're talking about something from a freestyling point of view, the content flows more and you're able to bring more of your personality out. If I put myself into more environments where there is dialogue, and I potentially will in the future, because it's something that I'm looking at. But at the moment, I'm torn between Brandmaster Academy and a project that I'm working on at the moment, which is eating up a lot of my time. But I digress. If I do get myself into that environment where there is more dialogue and there is back and forth, and it's kind of in a more casual environment, then I'm able to kind of do that. Will I ever be able to get my personality to a level where it's like that for my videos? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. At the moment, no. If I change up the way I create content and I'm able to free myself more to give myself more time to do that, yes, potentially. But at the moment, no. If I'm able to get myself into those environments of dialogue and I'm able to shoot those environments, I'm able to record those and put those out there, people will start to see a bit more of my personality. But other than that, if you're on my email list and you're getting those short snippets, then you're seeing the kind of top end of not the top end, but the closest of the real me, who I am. So
Yeah.
so that's it. There's a very good newsletter actually that I really like. What's it called? Marketing. It's a really good newsletter. Marketing, anyway, it's by this, if I think of it later, I'll send it to you so you can
Okay.
have it in the show notes. But it's a guy called Henry, I think it is. He's from the UK, and he just does these reviews of marketing. And it's so short. His emails are so short, but his emails are oozing his personality. It's the way he speaks that you would imagine he would speak in a bar in the same way. You know, it's far from corporate. It's really good. If I think of it later on, I'll send you the link
Send
so
it
you
to
can
me,
share it
please.
with your group. But yeah, my personality is here. I'll probably give more of it to you, Phyllis, because you're able to squeeze that extra bit out of me.
And you know what? And I recognize what you mean about your writing, because I love how, like, with every email, you change your middle name. And that really shines through for me. And there's this whole thing about certain expectations of personal brands, because now people with personal brands, they expect you to have a book, they expect you to speak, they expect you to do all these things. And with your breadth of knowledge, one of the things I don't think that you've done, I don't know, do you do public speaking?
I have done some public speaking, but it's something that I've actually I've got on my list this year to do more of. I'm in a nook in the
South of France.
southwest of France. So you know, road shows are not something that are you know, that I'm kind of into at the moment. As I said, and I don't know if we'll get to speak about it later on. Maybe we will. I'm very focused on a new project at the moment that's taking all of my focus, and it's a complement to all of the structure and the processes that Brandmaster Academy offers. And look, I want to, if I'm able to, there are some plans that I have to you know, to be able to pick and choose the elements of my business that I like to work on more. And if I'm able to succeed in that, then I will be doing more public speaking. I will be spending a little bit more time to put my personality into my videos, and to yeah, possibly get over to your side of the pond, and
Hello.
you know, to catch up with many people who I've made friends with along the way over there.
Yeah. Now, I love that you talk about your writing, because I'm a writer. I promise you, if that's all I could do and get away with it and get somebody else to market my books, that's what I would do. If you were to write a book. And now, because like I say, because now I see people in personal brands, because I'm starting to get a picture of your personal brand in my head and what I see and different things, because I would see a different YouTube channel or a different space on your YouTube channel where it's not so much like all of the knowledge that you give us and how you drop in certain shots and you tell us the process, but it's more conversational with you on this particular channel. It's like, you know what, let's have a real conversation about brand strategy. Let me break this down from my point of view without me having to drop in some flashy image. And it's just like 10 or 15 minutes of some real talk from Stephen and how you built this business. Because I know your original business is Iconic Fox, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've come from the agency world where I was dealing with clients where, you know, I kind of put the process to the test,
Mm-hmm.
you know, working with directly with clients. And I still have I haven't taken on a new client in years, but I've still been working with a handful of clients over the years that I've stayed with. But Brandmaster Academy became my focus for the last 4 or so years, and that has taken you know, pretty much all of my time. And now I'm even having to take the lion's share of my time away from that
For this
into
new project.
this new project at the moment. But yeah, hopefully that will all the waters will calm in the coming months, and I'll be able to allocate my time more efficiently, let's say.
Yeah. Because if you guys have ever, I don't know if, no, because they don't see the, like in Brandmaster Academies, the scenery behind you is more comfortable, it's more homey and all of that kind of stuff versus the videos that you put on YouTube. And like I said, I see more of a different channel. I still want you to do this because all of that is valuable over there. But just like 10 or 15 minutes of, you know what, real conversation with Stephen, that kind of vibe, and spin off into your own channel of just showing up that way and maybe having conversations or maybe just coaching somebody through one snippet of a problem about brand strategy. So because I hear, like, being part of all of your communities, the behind the scenes and the ones that are forward facing, I see a lot of people asking the same questions, and sometimes you jump in and sometimes the rest of us jump in, but I see them asking the same questions like, how do I do this? And maybe part of this spinoff channel is like, you know what, let's get on here and let's have this conversation of how you're going to handle this problem with your client. We're going to do this
Yeah.
in 10 or 15 minutes. And just, that's just the
Yeah,
thing.
and I know exactly what you're talking about, and you know, I know exactly what you're pushing me to do, and you know,
I'm not
that's
pushing.
yeah, you are. Um, that's where I get more joy. It's
Mhm.
100% where I get more joy. Uh, you know, when I'm in those conversations, and I do consulting as well. I don't advertise it. It's in a hidden little place. And those who stumble upon it are able to book themselves in, and I really enjoy those calls. Because you know, the question can come from anywhere. It can be about any particular thing, and you know, I just apply myself to that, and you know, I know that so much value comes out of those that go unrecorded, and if I can find a way to kind of do that in that way, in that kind of intimate setting, and then give that out to people, I think that would be a great way, because I did kind of fall out of love a little bit with the content creation process on YouTube, the way I was doing it. Um, so yeah, maybe when the dust settles on the project that I've got at the moment, then I'm able to turn my focus back there. Um, I might tip my hat to a new style
All right.
um that I put out there. There's
Yeah.
no promises, but I know exactly I know exactly what you're talking about, and it all comes back to that you know, turning up the dial a little on the unscripted you, and you know, putting it all out a little bit more raw.
Yeah. And like I said, also, I think it would help people to see, people who want to be brand strategists, because most brand strategists who want to learn, they have to go and pay for a course. If you even if you, after you pay for a course, you still have to kind of mold it to your own type of thing. But like I said, a lot of people don't know how to ask the questions. And I think a part of that also is that we're to have that human impact or have that human effect, there's not enough people who are actually engaging. You have an audience before you have a relationship nowadays, is what I'm seeing personally. And so people who are out here trying to be strategic and have a human connection, baby, you live with a dog and you've never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or any type of intimate. No. And so you're trying to find out how to make a human connection and you don't know how, which is why you don't know how to ask the questions. And like I said, so that whole new lens, as you put it, that you gave me to look through, I think people aren't connecting enough anymore to understand what that looks like to be able to ask those questions, or they're afraid to ask. My daughter, give you an example, my daughter, most of her friends are online because we moved from California. We left California when she was 10. Then we lived in Oregon for 3 years, and now we're in Texas. So most of her friends are online, and she's meeting new ones all the time. So I asked her, I was like, baby, what's this child's last name? Mom, I can't ask that. That's rude. What do you mean you can't ask that? I said, if somebody were to snatch you, I don't even know what last name to give. She's like, you don't ask last names. That's too personal.
That's a new generation
Yes,
that I
it's crazy.
yeah, no,
And
I
even with we were talking about making her own content channel and all this kind of stuff. And I asked her, I said, because we were talking about she spells some weird, crazy stuff. I said, baby, nobody's going to be able to look that up. She said, who uses Google? Just go to their YouTube channel. I was like, oh, you know, it's crazy. We're looking,
yeah.
everybody's still talking about SEO. And I have a generation coming along like, we don't care about Googling shit. We just go find them on YouTube. That's it. So you don't know these things are coming and you're still trying to hold on to old stuff. If you're trying to get to this generation that's coming up, y'all, they batshit crazy. Just let me tell you that.
Yeah. And it goes back to the old idea that you're not the audience. So making
No.
assumptions about what they do, what they want. No.
Yeah.
They've got their own ideas.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, then we're gonna get to this project you got coming up. So
Okay.
if you were to write a book, what would you write about?
I would write about brand strategy. No, it's something that when I fell in love with writing, because I think that's what it is. I think it's a love story. I fell in love with writing because I used to write when I was young, like just little stories and stuff like that. And then I got older and I became interested in different things. And then all of a sudden I had to write content again. And I found myself writing stuff and then this kind of I would call it capability, skill that was just kind of inherent. It was never nurtured, it was never trained. It just started to come out. And yeah, it's something that I really fell in love with. I one of my best performing my best performing article on brand archetypes. I wrote that article in 2017. So that has been at the top of Google, the number one article on Google now for 7 years, which is unheard of for an article to stay at the top of Google, the number one result for 7 years. It's been shared 11,000 times or something like that. But that's an article that I wrote with enjoyment, pure enjoyment. I loved writing that article, and yeah, so when I'm able to write from that place, and add that to something that lights me up, which is brand strategy, that's the book I want to read. That's the book I want to write. I want to write a brand strategy book from the point of view of both logic and emotion, where we touch on the structure, we cover the structure and the elements, but we also go deep into the human factor and the human element, and why we're trying to do what we do as brand builders, why the target market is trying to do what they're trying to do, and why they're trying to get where they want to go, and the psychological decision-making factors that go into all of that. That's the book that I want to write. structure, but laced with emotion and psychology.
So you think it would go deeper, even deeper than what you take us through in Brandmaster Academy? Is that what you're saying? Is going to be even deeper than that emotionally?
Yes, it would definitely, because I haven't I would love to there's a whole program that I could do on psychology, on brand psychology, marketing psychology, the buyer's journey, the steps that people take, that you just Brandmaster Secrets, as is probably the most comprehensive brand strategy course on the market by far. And I know that some people get overwhelmed.
They do.
It's just the nature it's just the nature of the beast. So you can only go so deep with some of those things. And books are the same as well, to some extent. You can write for days and days, but at the end, you're going to have to edit out a lot of that stuff. With the end reader in mind, that brand strategy 101, who is your audience and what do they want? But yeah, if I could make it more scientific and psychological, in terms of not only diving into the understanding of why the audience does what they do, but from the point of view of the brand strategist, understanding this is my role in the game and this is what I'm here to do, and really bringing in the emotional connection and the understanding of things like the limbic system, the reptilian brain, the decision making input of those emotions versus the logic, all of that, kind of giving the reader an understanding of, this is what branding is. It's not about logos and pixels and marketing and ads. It's about human psychology, and wrapping everything else around that based on the context. So yeah, that's the book I'd like to write.
And I love what you said early on. It's like people asking for logos and you want to tell them that's not it. My husband and I'm working with him again, but on a content level. And we're putting this channel
on a professional level.
On a professional, oh God. And we're creating this content around just being married today. And he's like, baby, can we pay somebody to make? We don't need a freaking logo. Dude, we haven't even dropped the first episode. We haven't even figured out the brand of this. And in one of the videos, I make sure I tell people, I said, y'all know I separate my personal and my business. Do not call me a fucking brand. This is Phyllis. This is Neil's wife. Do not get it twisted. But he's like, okay, are we going to make a logo? Dude, ask me again. Ask me again. I dare you. It's not.
But that's it. People get bits of knowledge from everyone, and this applies to startups and entrepreneurs as well. They start off a journey with little bits and pieces of knowledge from these different places, and they have an altered image of what they need to do. And it's not until they fall on their face and break their teeth they actually learn the lesson. I know the old Mike Tyson quote has done the rounds in the business arena, which is like, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. It's the same. Starting out in business, you're not going to learn until you fall down and make that mistake, and that's how most people learn. So luckily your husband has you to punch him in the face.
There you go. Right. So we're gonna wrap this up by telling you what we've been tiptoeing around this project that he's working on. And it taps into what so many people are worried about, and it's all about the whole AI thing and worrying if AI is going to take your job. I'm sorry, sweetie, if you're smart enough to program it, trust me, AI is not going to take your job. But that's just my own opinion. What you think is how you're going to make your money. But anyway, Stephen has this great thing that's coming around. If he's going to give us the high level version of what's going on with this new project, go on and tell us, Stephen, what's up?
Yeah, so I've been working on an AI integrated brand strategy platform called Brand Buildr AI. That's Brand Builder without the E. AI. And really, when I came across GPT and AI, um, it was overwhelming, because it's like I have all of this information at my fingertips, the answer to any question that I have, and knowing what to ask became the challenge. Knowing the way to ask it became the challenge. And that's going to continue to be the case with AI for a long time to come. You know, AI is not going to take your job. A person using AI will take your job. That's you know, that's a quote that's been doing the rounds, but it's very, very true. In order to get the best out of AI, you need to give it restrictions. You need to give it a sandbox to play in. You need to have a, you know, structure around what you're asking it and why you're asking it. So, you know, when it comes to Brandmaster Secrets and Brandmaster Academy, everything within branding as I teach it is based on structures, and frameworks. So so Brand Builder is that software environment that you're able to either go through yourself on behalf of your client, or to use it as a workshop tool to take your client through. But ultimately, it breaks down the structure of brand strategies, and I'll talk about brand strategies in a second, because there is the brand strategy, which is the center point of everything a brand does, from positioning, everything I talked about before, positioning to audience persona, to brand personality, brand DNA. But brands are built in blocks, and strategies at different points in the brand journey are different. You have to ask different types of questions at different times in order to be able to achieve different kind of outcomes and you know, meet different kind of objectives. So the platform takes you through, based on where you are, the right strategy for the right time. So starting off, it could be a brand audit, just to audit where a brand is at the moment. Then a brand strategy, a marketing strategy, the offer development, to develop the right kind of offer for your market, a funnel strategy, and then there's brand experience, brand architecture. There are over 15 to 20 strategy models at the moment. And really, with every strategy, it's just about asking the right insightful questions and giving objective answers. This is exactly what we spoke about earlier before. You know, the strategist asks the insightful, the incisive questions, and the quality of the answer to those questions is dependent on the quality of the question. So the questions are set in the way they're asked, and they're designed from a point of view of experience, and you know, really diving deep into the nitty gritty that you need to know before defining a strategy. And one question at a time, it guides you through, but AI is there on hand to suggest answers to you. And it does this by learning from question to question. So when you answer one question, it's going to be answering the next question from a more informed point of view. So there's a compounding effect that happens as you go through. So it's you know, it's free to sign up. You just jump over to Brandbuilder AI, and you can start going through the brand strategy process, answering those questions. But it really expands out, and it gives professionals and entrepreneurs the opportunity to build brand paths to you know, to over the course of 6 months, a year, 2 years, to put in place a path for the strategies that they want to put together. For professionals, it's a great opportunity to expand your service offering, to really increase that recurring revenue, and you know, to build out that business model. But it's got great potential. It's you know, we've got the as we're recording this, we've still got the beta testers going in. By the time this drops, it will be live. Got high hopes for it. I think it's exactly what brand builders need at this point in time to integrate AI into the processes. And I think it's got great opportunity for growth.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a game changer. But as one of the beta testers, for transparency, as one of the beta testers, one thing I am going to say is that because I'm using it based on past client experience, because I'm not taking any, well, I'm taking one new client, but I'm not taking any real new clients right now. The thing that you're going to have to realize is that as it prompts you questions, sweetie, you're still going to have to come up with your own sub questions, because some clients aren't going to be able to answer those questions right off. Going through them and thinking, like, just based on some of the things that I've taken my clients through, it has to be a deeper question or a different question. And because all of your clients are different, those sub questions are going to have to come from you in order to be able to answer those questions. You start off with some very important questions, but if your client doesn't know how to answer, you're going to have to learn how to dig a little deeper. And this is why I say AI can't take your job, because even if your client answered all those questions, they wouldn't know how to detect what it is that they want in their strategy. So you have to understand that that's what AI is there for. It's there to guide, but sweetie, it can't take over because it does not know the subtleties and nuances of you or your client and the relationship that you have.
Yeah, and
So,
one of the big challenges with brand strategy is answers or getting the answers out of your clients. As a facilitator in a brand strategy workshop, you ask the client, and it's on the client to come up with the answer. Now, of course, you have your experience there, but answering those questions can be a challenge at times. The AI suggests, it often gives you great starting points, and it opens up the mind of the client to go, yeah. And it just that, like anything, like any kind of inspiration to start you off on your journey, the answers will inspire better answers. And just a point on what you said before, Phyllis, in a future release, which we've already got planned, it's going to become a strategist's creative platform as well. When I say creative, I'm not talking about visuals here. I'm talking about creativity from a strategy point of view. So as you develop out your own processes, if you have personal branding processes and structures that you take your clients through, you can actually design these into the platform so that all your sections, your blocks, your questions are in the system, and it's white label as well. So you can put your own logo and your own colors on there as well. So essentially you've got your own AI integrated brand strategy platform with your own proprietary frameworks that you take your audience through, and AI learns from question to question as it goes through and provides you with those answers as well. So exciting stuff.
oh my God, yes, that is exciting. It's like, oh, I'm glad I'm in the beta group. Oh, all right, honeys. So you guys know what's coming down the pipeline. I was asking questions, but Stephen said I was pushing him to do the whole other channel thing. But so there are certain things that you're going to look out for, but definitely go if you have not taken Brandmaster Academy classes or courses. I've taken them both and the boot camp. I took the Brandmaster Secrets and the Brandmaster workshops for those who want to know how to do a workshop. But then I was also in the boot camp. I was glad to be in that as well. I don't know if he's ever doing that again, but I got in on it. Trust and believe. I promise you. I don't do brand strategy the same way anymore, but anything Stephen comes out with, trust and believe, I'm going to be there for it to the best of my ability. So, at some point, I'm pretty sure down the line, 2-3 years, there's going to be a book in our future. I will get that too. But go follow him on YouTube. I'll make sure that it's in the show notes and all of that kind of stuff, because his content is so amazing. And even if you never pay for it, he gonna get it back in ads, because you're gonna watch his shit over and over and over. Trust and believe, he gonna get paid some kind of way. So you can't get around it. But his content is very, very valuable. His blogs, go read it. If you can't watch it, go read it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You have any last words before I get us out of here, Stephen?
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I promise, if I do get the opportunity to write that book, I'll think of you and bring as much of my personality to the table as possible.
There you go. There you go. All right, brand baby. So you know it's time to go. So 5, bullshit happens, so suck it up. 4, your voice is important, so speak up. 3, you make the world a more beautiful place, so show up. 2, life is good, so buck up. And 1, I love you and ain't a damn thing you can do about it, so shut the fuck up. Peace and hair grease, y'all.
All right, brand babies. We appreciate you stopping by because we know you got shit to do. Just remember to subscribe on your way out and bring a friend next time. In the meantime, and in between time, stay connected with your Brandmother on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The links are in the description. And your Brandmother wants you to remember that personal branding is not just personal, it's also business.